The Bad Batch Season 3, Episodes 6 and 7 were another 2-episode premiere. Infiltration and Extraction had a lot going on. We revisited one of the biggest questions raised in Season 2, and got to see some familiar faces in a story that dealt with the fate of all clones instead of just Clone Force 99. The opening scene is about two former enemies uniting in opposition against the Empire. Ravi Singh of Raxus meets with Chuchi on her homeworld Pantora. She was with the Republic and he was with the Separatists, but now they have a common enemy. It's a great follow-up on the political side of things for a second. We've known for a long time that Separatists made up a significant portion of the Rebel Alliance, but that was mostly stated in reference books and similar sources. It's cool to see the how and why of it play out on screen in secret meetings. Singh points out that they currently have no unifying leaders, which I don't think will become a major plot point of this series, but it doesn't need to be. The rise of Mon Mothma can be told in Andor, and this is just a good connection to the larger Star Wars universe. The clone operative attempts to assassinate Singh, so I would assume the Empire is fully aware of their opposition within the Senate. But some good news for once, Hauser is able to capture the operative and take him back to the clone base on Teth. In episode 5, I talked about how this season is definitely giving off final season vibes, bringing back so many familiar faces and locations, but this isn't just a conclusion for the Bad Batch, this is wrapping up the story of all clone troopers as well. Revisiting the Teth Monastery from the Clone Wars movie is a nice touch. Rex and the others try to interrogate the operative, but he keeps his mouth shut. Fortunately, he can't shut it on one of those electric teeth because Hauser removed the electro capsule. Unfortunately, he's got some sort of tracker on him and another assassin is sent to Teth to take him out. Rex and Hauser discover the Empire is after Omega, again, so they call in the Bad Batch to find out more and to question Crosshair. On their ship, I love that Omega has begun mimicking him with a toothpick in her mouth. That was always adorable all the way back in Season 1, seeing how she picked up on cues from Hunter, then in Season 2 it was Phee, now it's Crosshair. The two of them becoming friends is the best. Well, at least I think so. Hunter seems a little wary of it, or jealous, like Crosshair suggested in Episode 5. Before heading into the monastery, Echo gives Omega a new weapon, an energy crossbow to replace her regular bow, which is rad. Last week, we saw Hunter learning to trust his brother again, but this week, Crosshair needs to earn the trust of all the Regs. Hauser is basically the stand-in for that group, holding a grudge against Crosshair for the past and being all around aggressive. The Regs ask Omega why she's being hunted and try to find out what was going on at Tantus, slowly putting some pieces together and at least hearing the word M-count. We don't see Omega tell them every detail about how Nala Se was destroying her blood tests and only told her to escape once they finally did test her blood, but Rex has some lines later in the episode that makes me think that information was relayed off-screen. He at least knows that she's vital to their plans. Crosshair gives the troopers some information about the clone operatives and is alarmed to hear that they are holding one at their location because he knows they would be tracked there. And he's right, because that new operative is in their base and sees Hemlock's primary target, Omega, is conveniently right in front of him. He goes to report back and Batcher realizes something is up. Again I say, listen to the dog. She warned you about the ice worm thing last week. She never barks and growls for no reason. Listen to her. Crosshair admits that the Empire attempted to turn him into one of those clone operatives, and their captive tries to throw more distrust onto him, but before there can be any fallout from that, the other operative attacks and sets off explosions all around the base until it crumbles down around them. Imperial reinforcements arrive, led by none other than Commander Wolf. I love that his appearance is enough to warrant a bombshell episode-ending moment. I know I've been hoping to see him in this series, wondering how he would wind up with Rex and Gregor in Star Wars Rebels. Luckily, we don't have to wait an entire week to see more, so let's just go right into Extraction. The survivors of the monastery's collapse start to make their way out of the building by taking the long staircase down. Wolf quickly realizes his supposed enemies are fellow clones. I think at this point he's basically like Cody was in Season 2. He's working with the Empire and just not aware of the full picture. He hasn't been on a mission that woke him up to what's really going on yet. I think that tracks with how we see him in Rebels, where he is still somewhat trusting of the Empire. His squad heads to the bottom of the spire to cut off Rex and the others while the operative attacks them from above. I love Crosshair continuing to have to learn to adapt to his failing accuracy. He can't get a shot on the operative, so instead he just shoots an entire bomb at him. Whatever works, dude. The clones escape in one of those little Leechcraft ships from Season 2, which is perfect. They can drill into ships, so why not drill into rock walls for a sneaky hidden escape? So cool. But of course, the pain-in-the-butt operative shoots them down into the jungle. I continue to love Crosshair's interactions with Omega, checking to make sure she's okay, that she has her crossbow and can carry everything alright, and she retorts that he's just as bad as Hunter. Their relationship is wonderful. I thought it was going to be much longer before they had banter like this, but I'm glad we didn't have to wait too long. Hauser seems to appreciate their friendship too, recognizing that something has changed in Crosshair since what happened on Ryloth. He explains that he valued loyalty, but only if it goes both ways, and it didn't with the Empire. I talked about this a lot in my reviews for Andor 2, but there's a difference between being loyal to people and being loyal to an institution. Loyalty to your friends, family, and the people who depend on you? That's important, but blind loyalty to a religion or a corporation or a government is much trickier. You have to be willing to recognize when things are changing. Loyalty without question is a problem, and an organization's leadership will almost always place the institution itself above the people that make it work. It's like working for a job that touts loyalty above all else. What they mean is for employees to be loyal, but if they can cut jobs to save money or get a tax cut or something, that loyalty just seems to vanish. Or you'll see churches cover up scandals to keep up attendance rather than work to actually protect its members from problems. Our heroes are once again trapped between Wolf Squad and the clone operative. They lay down some smoke as cover, and now I think Omega's bright green glowing crossbow is a bit of a liability, but they still clear out their enemies, except for that annoying operative. Crosshair goes off alone to distract the assassin, which is appropriate. They feel like counterparts to one another, and with Crosshair's hand trimmer, they're on pretty even ground, at least until they fall into a river, but that's totally appropriate. This is basically a fight between Crosshair and who he would have been if he stayed in the Empire. He confronts that head-on, is baptized, nearly drowned in water, and emerges again with a fresh start, at least in the eyes of Hauser. I have been of the opinion that Crosshair is trustworthy, but it's totally reasonable that other characters wouldn't instantly feel that way. But I think we're now at the point where he's probably proven himself enough. Wolf finally catches up to Rex and the others, and that was a great scene. A standoff between a bunch of clones who have had their eyes opened and a bunch of clones who aren't quite there yet. I was so hoping every single one of them would go along with the others when Echo and Gregor showed up, but this is enough, because Wolf showed loyalty to his friends and his brothers. He didn't follow the Empire's orders without question, he was willing to listen and realize there might be more going on than he knows. Unfortunately, I expect that means he will earn himself a one-way ticket to Mount Tantus, but it's kinda nice knowing he will be okay in the long run. Okay-ish anyway. He definitely seemed to have some PTSD in Star Wars Rebels. The final two scenes set up what we can expect from the final 8 episodes of the series. First, I think it's interesting that they showed the clone operative survived his fall. He could have easily died and then another operative would show up in future episodes, so I feel like there's gotta be a reason he lived specifically. They made a point to show him trying and failing to use his comms, so maybe he won't be able to communicate or get back to the Empire or something. If he's isolated from his masters, maybe he'll be able to deprogram himself and eventually help the cause. But if the Empire has a tracker on him, then it would be easy to pick him back up. It just seems curious that they would take the time to show that this specific operative is still alive. On Echo's ship, Rex tells Hunter he'll have to find out why Omega is so important to the Empire if he wants to keep her safe. I've already got a guess about that, and I did a video I can link to in the cards if you want to hear my full thoughts. Basically, I think there is something about Omega's blood that keeps metachlorian counts from decreasing during the cloning process. Her blood is likely the key to the Emperor's plans to clone himself and keep every bit of his power for all time. I love the idea that the Bad Batch and the other clones could ultimately prevent that from happening, leading to the messed up clone vessel we see in The Rise of Skywalker. But for now, all they have to go off of is the word M-count. If they're going to investigate what that means, I think they could very easily track down some surviving Jedi. And who would be a good fit to talk to a bunch of non-conventional clones? Maybe a non-conventional Jedi like Quinlan Vos, who just so happens to have had a relationship with Asajj Ventress in the book Dark Disciple, who we saw in the trailer. I wonder if this is a stepping stone to bringing her into the story down the line. And now that I think about it, if she is also part of the crew that takes down Tantus, that's like the ultimate revenge against the Sith that she always wanted, but she could achieve it by saving a bunch of clones. I like that idea a lot. But that's all speculation, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me know what you thought of Infiltration and Extraction in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page where we have video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.